Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We don't even slow down, we don't have to go.
Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video topic has been highly requested over the past several months, so I said I'm gonna finally sit down and do a talk about my experience becoming a first-time home buyer and buying my first home by myself. Those of you who may be new around here, I did do a home tour, an empty home tour, and I will link it up above in the cards. I'm still in the process of finishing a few pieces in various rooms. When it's done, I will do a furnished home tour. And to answer the many questions I've got in the comments, I bought my home last year, early 2017. I did buy it on my own. No co-signer for those that were asking. Down payment was made by myself. Mortgage set up with my bank on my own. Pre-approved for my loan on my own. And today I just want to sit down and talk to you guys about my experience finding a home, putting in the offer, all that jazz, and then having been here over a year, letting you know my pros and cons list of owning versus renting. This whole process started for me in the fall of 2006. I had been moving around, I had been renting. I really wasn't a big fan of throwing a large amount of money. I live in downtown Columbus, and rents there for a one-bedroom flat were $1,000 a month before any utilities or additional costs that you had to pay each and every month. Now I know that's not as much as like LA or New York, but for a traveling performer, that is a lot of money, especially when you are living on your own. I had just come off of cruise ships. I was living in this apartment, and it was just a big chunk of my monthly budget going into someone else's pocket. So with the idea of wanting to buy and no longer rent, I did what I consider any millennial would do. I spent a ridiculous amount of time on Zillow, didn't have any idea how it would work. I decided to get myself a realtor. I got myself somebody, I will link her name and information down below. Her name is Nancy. She is wonderful, especially for first-time buyers. I had every question under the sun, and she was so nice. She told me to text her day in, day out, anytime. I would message her in the middle of the night. I would have questions about contracts, pre-approvals on loans, and making offers, all that stuff. She is phenomenal. If you're looking for somebody in the Central Ohio area, not sponsored, she didn't even know I was going to mention her name in this, but I figure I should. Her name is Nancy. I'll put her information down below. She really is a lifesaver. I don't think I would have a home without her. Anyway, I've got my favorites on Zillow. I've got my realtor. We start the home search. I have no idea where to begin. I don't know the right questions to ask, like price per square foot, home inspections, any of that stuff. That's where Nancy really came in. She had a list of things that had to be answered by the homeowner or their selling realtor. We went and saw 3 places all around different parts of downtown Columbus and just outside of the city. That's where I am currently. The other 2 places I did see, they were nice. They weren't exactly what I was looking for. One of them was a 2nd floor walk-up in a condominium, and the stairs were iron, and they just cast iron stairs, and they looked like they were something, you know, they looked like a falling hazard in the winter. So I nixed that one. And then there was one place I remember I went and saw with her, which was down by the river here in the city, and the washer and dryer unit was in the living room. So I walked in, and the washer and the dryer were just right there in the living room because this unit was, I think, from the 60s, and they just didn't bother moving the washer and dryer into another place. And once again, I should say I was looking at condos. I wasn't looking at getting a house because I still wanted somebody to mow my lawn and take care of any of the amenities outside. I didn't want to just jump into a home ownership by myself, because again, this was me, single millennial, going to the bank and buying a house. So I said condo, that's the way to go, because I already don't know how to weed my garden outside. My HOA fee at least pays for it out front, and they take care of the pool, the tennis courts, the trash, all the maintenance. It is wonderful. If you are looking to go between home and condo, do your research. You do have to pay an additional fee on top of your mortgage for your homeowners association, but in my case, it's completely worth it because there's someone out there planting my flowers, mowing my grass, pulling my weeds, and for me, it just worked. Anyway, it was December 4th, 2006. I got a call from Nancy. She said, I found a place. We have to go see it. It's going to be open to the public at 5 o'clock. We're gonna be the first ones there. And we walk into this place, and it is beautiful. And I told her I liked it. I'm interested. Put it on the list. And she said, Kristen, if you want this house, you have to make an offer on it now. And I said, why? And she said, the asking price is like $30,000 less than the units around you, because again, I was buying in December. Another tip, buy your house in the winter months because prices are lower because less people want to take the hassle of moving in the cold months. Things I didn't know, tip from me to you. So Nancy took me to the Panera Bread, she sat down, she explained we were making an offer on the house, we filled out all the paperwork, and I think it was like 5 days later, we got the yes, you have been accepted. We did offer them the asking price. My realtor did get me a really fair deal with the owner that included like a year of home guard, all of the brand new appliances were kept here, the brand new washer and dryer, kitchen appliances, all that stuff. Again, get a realtor. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but get a realtor. I honestly don't know how I got so lucky in the search and the offer. I was expecting to search for months. I was expecting to, you know, put offers on various places and get a no, because I think it was my offer versus like a married couple's offer. And I assumed, well, they're a married couple, he's obviously gonna go with them. That's 2 incomes versus my 1 income. The next step was to go to the bank. And when you walk into the bank and say, I wanna buy a house, and they say, okay, where's your spouse? Where's your other set of income? It's an adventure, but went in, filled everything out. They did ask me if I wanted to co-sign with my parents and whatnot, and they would have had I asked, but I really was like feeling girl boss at this point in life. I wanted to use my down payment money. I wanted to just buy it and say it was mine. So long story short, several visits to the bank, several documents, several signatures, initials really, because after 80 I was just like, I'm done. This is a lot. It was finally time to sit down and sign the final papers that would legally make this property mine. We set it for January 31st of 2017. Well, that date was set in stone. Some other cool news that happened around that time is I was moving jobs. I was moving from an hourly office position into a salaried job at another company. And I moved to that job the first week of 2017. First time home buyer, didn't think of it. I was so excited, brand new job, triple salary, ready to go, like so excited. Didn't think to call my bank and say, hey, when you do an employment check on me, here's my updated employment history. Because when they did their background check on me, they made sure I was a good candidate for a loan, because they gave me a substantial amount of money. They checked to make sure I had employment, clearly. Well, I didn't let them know I had changed employment. So it was 10 days before closing, January 21st, and I get a call from my mortgage banker, and he is not happy, like at all. He calls me and he says, Kristen, we called your place of employment and they said that you no longer work there. They couldn't legally tell us why, because it's HR. Are we gonna need to cancel you buying this house? And I panicked, because legally the seller could have pulled out of this agreement. There was nothing set in stone until we met on the 31st and we both signed that contract that said it was legally mine, done. So it was a race against the clock. I rushed to HR. Didn't even really know HR because I'd only been there 2 weeks. I had them write me a letter explaining I did work there. I had to send in all this documentation because I wasn't gonna get my first big girl corporate paycheck until after the signing. So there was no way to prove it. So we were sending in scans of my punching into the building. We were sending scans of me being present in like meetings and all this stuff. And finally, Chase got it fixed. We got it figured out. It was just a very terrifying 10 days of life. It was an adventure, looking back. I'm filming this well over a year later. I'd have probably been a little bit more spastic about this. Anyway, Chase Bank, who is my banking company, we got everything figured out. They got my brand new employment. After they calmed down, took a breath, and realized they were still gonna get their interest money, no offense to Chase, any other bank would have done it, they were very pleased to see the raise in salary, because I guess that made me a better looking applicant. I already had a very good and healthy credit score. I had a very large amount of money going down on the house. I think they were just panicked because they went and did an employment check and my old place said, no, she doesn't work here anymore. And they probably asked why, and they said, oh, we can't tell you. But it's all done, taken care of. I've now lived here well over a year. I did wait 1 month after signing to actually move in here because I still lived in my very fancy apartment downtown. I was able to, by the grace of God, really, get a subleaser who took over, so I never had to pay a mortgage and a rent. Because again, I wasn't expecting to sign on a house that quickly. I was expecting to wait and wait and wait, but it happened. Third house I saw, first offer that it happened, went to the bank, got my down payment. The only bump in that road was when I changed jobs and forgot to tell the bank. So if you are in that process where you're buying a house or you have your contract date set and you have a major life change, please learn from my mistake. Call your bank, let them know. Because if you don't let them know, they're not really happy about it. Sorry, Chase. Anyway, having lived here and owned a home for a year, pros and cons of home ownership. Pro number one, it's my property. I can say it's mine. You feel a little bit of like an accomplishment because you purchased land, like you own this building, it's yours. If I want to paint my walls any color I want, I can have anything I want in here, it's mine. And the other pros is that my monthly mortgage is going to pay back the loan of this house. I am not putting a monthly rent into the pocket of an owner. I am the owner, and every time I make a mortgage payment, yes, I do have to put in money into my escrow and interest on my bank loan, but a percentage of that mortgage payment is paying me back. So in essence, I am investing more into this home each and every month that I put money into my mortgage. Cons of home ownership. Oh, and yes, there are cons. One, because I don't rent this place, I am the landlord. So when my AC doesn't want to work, when my dishwasher is spitting out water, when my refrigerator decides to shut off, or in the summertime last year when my AC pipes decided they were going to leak and I had basically a lake underneath my stairs by my piano here in my music studio, I didn't have anybody to call to fix it. It was my job to look into it. Side note, get home owner's insurance. It is a godsend. Something else I was told to get by my realtor. I'm sure any realtor would have told you to get home insurance. For me, she was like, no questions asked, you're getting home insurance. And I said, okay. Other cons are homeowners association fees, but again, that's expected. If I didn't pay those, I would be paying somebody to mow my lawn, take out my trash, all that stuff. And I do still like living in kind of a community. I feel like while we don't all know each other, we're kind of just all like a group that, you know, lives here and coexists. And of course, my least favorite of homeownership, property taxes. If that's not something that you know about, good. Live in that happy world. But property taxes, they're the fun part of being an American. But again, you own this place, you can look past those cons. My tips for you, if you are looking to be a first-time home buyer, always insist on getting a home inspection that you facilitate. A lot of people, when I went to go look at their home, they would say, oh, we've had a home inspection. Here's the report. You want to have your own inspector come in and give you a fresh report because you don't know if the paper you're reading has been tampered with, edited, you don't know how old it is, you don't know if they hired their best friend to do the home inspection. Facilitate your own home inspection. Tip number two, invest in both homeowner's insurance and a home warranty package. Home warranty packages cover basically what insurance doesn't pay. For example, when my AC unit decided to spit water out all over my carpet, if the carpet had been destroyed, insurance would have paid for that, but they wouldn't have paid for the inspection and the repair of the AC unit. That is where my home warranty came in. I had them visit at least 6 or 7 times last year. The visits were completely free. Everything was covered. I believe I pay like $50 or $60 a month for Home Guard. If you don't know what that is, look it up, see what's available in your area. I promise you it is worth it. I think I probably would have paid well over $5 to $6 grand to have people come in. I had to get some fluid put into my AC unit out back that was very expensive, again, covered under Home Guard. They fixed my dishwasher, they inspected my washing machine, all covered. And my last tip is to have at least 20% of the cost of the house or condo in your down payment. I believe 10% or more you get out of a bunch of different fees that you have to pay to the bank if you had less than that in your down payment. For example, if you want to buy a house that's $100,000, I would say have at least 20 grand ready for the down payment. At least for me, it made it a lot easier to have a very substantial down payment, mainly because I was buying alone with one source of income. I think if you are a couple, it might be a little bit easier, but if you are buying alone especially, 20% of the cost of your house have in a down payment. And millennials out there, there's no shame in co-signing. There really is no shame. I tell my friends all the time that are living with their family, paying off their student loan debt, saving for their lives. When you are in your own house, you aren't gonna care that you had to spend time living with your family. There's no shame in that. There is no shame in signing or co-signing with your parents. I look back now and I refuse to do it. I was such a go-getter. I want to prove it to the world. Not that the world was watching or caring, I've now learned. But if you have to co-sign with your parents to make that dream happen for you, there's nothing wrong with that. I promise you. Anyway, that's my story of buying my very first house. Let me know down below your experience, or if you are currently looking, if it's something on your current bucket list. I would love to hear it. Give this video a thumbs up if you would like to see an in-house home tour. I will get working on that right away. And if you have not yet subscribed, click the subscription button and the bell down below to be updated each and every time. Hey you guys, so the end of this video cut out before I could finish my outro, but I just wanted to jump on here and say thank you so much for watching my video on how I bought my very first house. If you missed my other recent video on how I get a venti iced latte at Starbucks for $2, I will have that linked right here in the end screen. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.
Welcome to my house.